Hi, this is Rick from For Community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. My Christmas tree is all the way set up, and I'm sure that a lot of you already have your trees up as well. Not only that, but almost all of the presents are under my tree, all wrapped. The why of that is a totally other story. But what I really love to do right now at this point in the Christmas season, I like to draw my kids' attention to the bottom of the tree and I say, hey, what are those? As I point out to the presents, as I touch them and knock them around and shake them a little bit to drive them crazy, because this is where I get my fun. Just this week, my daughter is passing by the tree and she noticed that one of the presents was actually exposed. The wrapping paper had ripped, revealing what was underneath it. And so she called out for help as though someone was dying. She called, Daddy, Daddy, come and help me. And I rushed to her to find an exposed present that she put her hands over to make sure that nobody could see. I didn't have any wrapping paper on me, so I went to the kitchen and I grabbed some paper towels and I taped the paper towels over the exposed part while she was standing behind me with her hands up, making sure that nobody was coming near the tree to see what the present was. I think she demonstrated some very high quality character right there in that moment. What about you? Do you remember when you were younger and you saw a present under the tree that was exposed? What did you do? Demonstrate high quality character, or did you peel the wrapping paper back just a little bit more to see what it was? If you've got a story, would you please pause the video and share your story with whoever it is you're watching with? This video is based on my interpretation of Matthew chapter 1, verses 19 through 24. In this text, we see Joseph demonstrating a really high level of character quality as he's exposed to the greatest gift the world has ever been given. Matthew chapter 1, verses 19 to 24, Joseph, to whom Mary was engaged, was a righteous man and did not want to disgrace Mary publicly, so he decided to break the engagement quietly. As he considered this, an angel of the Lord appeared to him in a dream. Joseph, son of David, the angel said, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife, for the child within her was conceived by the Holy Spirit. And she will have a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. All of this occurred to fulfill the Lord's message through his prophet. Look, the virgin will conceive a child, she will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. When Joseph woke up, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded and took Mary as his wife.
You shall not pass.
Why?
Because you kids need to watch Connect HQ.
We already did, see?
Oh yeah, you did. Good job.
You may cross the path.
Good thing we watched Connect HQ.
Yeah.
Here's the point that I'm going to try to make in this video. Everyone's faith looks a little different. It's supposed to look a little different. Here's what's standing out in the text to me the most. Joseph had a very similar reaction as Mary had at the announcement of Jesus coming. Now, I mean, not Mary's telling of the story to Joseph, but I mean the angel's telling of the story to Joseph. As Mary demonstrated her faith in Jesus, so Joseph also demonstrates his faith in Jesus too. Mary's faith looked like humble acceptance. Joseph's faith, however, looks a little different. And your faith in Jesus will also look a little different. So let's start by looking at what Joseph's response to Jesus was. Here's what Joseph's faith looked like. The text says, Joseph, to whom she was engaged, was a righteous man and did not want to disgrace her publicly, so he decided to break the engagement quietly. Initially, I see Joseph doing something that's pretty noble. Joseph, assuming that Mary cheated on him, he doesn't escalate. He's very quietly letting Mary go, and then he's moving on with his life. He's not trying to hurt her. He's showing her maturity and mercy as he's not looking back. He's just moving forward. I mean, he's wrong. He's totally wrong, but it makes no sense at all for him to believe Mary. I mean, not in my mind anyways, it would be very foolish of a guy to believe Mary's story. Mary's story is something that has potential to escalate anybody at all. Joseph doesn't fall for the bait. He stays stable. Now, personally, I love what this reveals about Joseph. He thinks that she has cheated on him, and so he's quietly moving on with his life and letting her go, not escalating, not getting mad. I mean, he's totally wrong. Mary's story is true, but he's demonstrating he's got some great quality about him. The text goes on to say, when Joseph woke up, he did as the angel of the Lord commanded and took Mary as his wife. Okay, now this is an even bigger deal now. Not only is Joseph just a plain old good guy with some strong character and good instincts, he's also a guy who believes stuff about God. He believes God. And when God reveals something, he responds as though he has been given a command, as though it's truth and there's nothing else that can conflict with it. I think the big deal point that really stands out to me about Joseph is the same big deal point that stands out to me about Mary. Mary models a new way to be connected with God. New meaning it's different from the Old Testament. It's by believing in Jesus. Joseph models the same thing here. The angel tells him who Jesus is and what Jesus is going to do, and he totally believes in Jesus at that point. And here's why this is a big deal. If they were in the Old Testament, their faith would all look pretty much the same. There's a lot of religious practices in the Old Testament version of believing in God. In the New Testament version, though, since Jesus has come, things have changed. Faith looks a little different for everyone. Both Mary and Joseph model this for us. The way to God is exclusively by believing in Jesus. Mary's faith, though, looks like humility. Joseph's faith looks like determination and grit. And that's the summary of the Christmas story. Jesus has come so that the way to God is really clear and accessible. It's through Jesus. The way to God is through Jesus. And being a Jesus follower can look different for everyone because we've all got our own story. So what can your faith look like? The text goes on to say, he will save his people from their sins. All of this occurred to fulfill the Lord's message through the prophet. Look, the virgin will conceive a child. She'll give birth to a son, and they'll call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Look at the other name that Jesus has been given. His name is Jesus, and he's also called Emmanuel, which is, I guess, more of a title, which means God is with us. Jesus isn't just God's son. Jesus is also God himself. Now, Trinity talk is fairly complicated, so I'm going to skip the Trinity talk right now, and I'm just going to say that God came into the world. Jesus is God, and God is asking you to be connected to him. What will your connection with him look like? Will it be like Mary's, humble trust following his lead? Will it be like Joseph's, grit and determination to make sure life keeps moving forward, to participate in God's plan, almost like a partner with him? Or will it look even different than that? It's okay. What matters is your belief in Jesus, and that you are figuring out what it looks like for you. Here's the summary. God has come to the world to give us all the chance to believe in him and connect with him in a way that makes sense for us. Diversity is truly okay. If you haven't yet, would you please choose to believe in Jesus? And then would you figure out how that belief will work itself out in your life? That's it from me to you for now. Would you please like, share, subscribe? Would you also please ask for the link? We're meeting at 10:30 a.m., 6 o'clock p.m. We're also meeting and beating this coming Sunday for a Christmas potluck lunch. If you're local to me and you want to chow down, come on out. I'm cooking turkey. Lots of other people are preparing stuff. You're welcome to come. If you want to contribute, you'll find the link to contribute down the show notes. For community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. See you next time.